Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the OtterBox Commuter Series case designed for the Moto X. Of course, OtterBox is known for making some of the best cases in the industry, not necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint, but it's all about protection and really ensuring for those of you out there that are prone to dropping your phone that your phone will survive that collision. So I've got the Moto X right here on the right. This is the Verizon Wireless Developers Edition, which for those of you that follow my channel know I have been using for a while, and I'm really enjoying this handset. But of course the video isn't about the Moto X or what a great offering this phone is, especially at its price point, both with carriers subsidized as well as unlocked the way I purchased it, but it is about the OtterBox Commuter. Now the reason I'm not sharing the Defender is quite frankly all of the OtterBox cases really do bulk up the phones that they tend to protect considerably, and the Commuter is the lesser of the evils in my opinion. Of course, many people prefer the Defender. I'm in no way against it. It's really just a matter of personal preference and what you need when it comes to protection. This is AT&T branded, you may have noticed, and even though I have a Verizon version of the phone, as I just mentioned, Verizon just isn't carrying this case in store. I don't know if it's just because they're not giving Moto X proper treatment. I know it's popular, but either way, the point is that I had to pick this up from AT&T, but you can get it from Amazon for less, $35 right there on their own packaging retail. No discounts on this whatsoever. And another thing I found interesting, and I'm not an AT&T customer, so I wouldn't be familiar, is the packaging. As you may have noticed, this is not a retail package, but AT&T branding out all of their own accessories. And frankly, this creeps me out a little bit because that means I could be buying a return because it's this easy to pop open the case. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good thing for the environment. In fact, that's the pitch here. But one thing I will point out, besides the fact that this easily could have been a return already, even though I'm paying full retail, is that it doesn't include, I noticed, the screen protector, or at least it doesn't say that on the packaging. If you purchase this retail from OtterBox or through Amazon, which I'll include a link in the description, it will actually also come with a screen protector. At least that's what the literature points to. So a little surprising that AT&T not only scrapped the packaging, but also an included screen protector just so they could sell one. Not cool. Regardless, this is still one of the best cases that won't make the phone incredibly large. Remember, this is a very small handset in the scope of things, where at least things have gone these days, with things like the Note 2 and other very large phones becoming almost a standard. A 4.7-inch device like this that is arguably the true Nexus 5, depending on who you're really asking, considering this is made by Motorola, which is Google's manufacturing arm now, and since it's made in the US, which is something that Google is really doing across the board with glass as well, the only other thing that they're manufacturing, at least in any type of bulk at this point, it's an interesting dynamic that's starting to open up here. But all things aside, let's take a look at what the OtterBox actually brings to the table. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the rubber insert. And this is how all OtterBox cases coexist with your device. You get a rubber shield that wraps around the device to actually protect it from the plastic encasement that acts as the more ruggedized external shell. If you go with the Defender, you'll actually get a clip-on, besides the fact that the case will also be about twice the thickness. Normally the screen protector would be right here, and of course there isn't one. So that's what I was referencing before. I didn't expect it, it wasn't listed. You just take your phone, pop it right into the rubber sock, we'll call it, and it really just resembles a silicone gel overlay, something that a lot of people use as a case. And this will tend to collect lint. That's another good reason to have the hard shell covering it. Nothing new for OtterBox. Not the easiest to get on, but not really difficult. Basically, even though a lot of people will say, oh, I've got different ways of doing this, all it comes down to is lining up one side and basically just forcing the phone in. I know that doesn't sound nice, but once you do that and get all of the buttons to just pop into place, you're good to go. And it seems like we're good already. Not a perfect fit up here on the top, but, you know, I'll get it. Just got to pull out the volume if I can. But that's really all there is to it. There you go. Access to the 3.5mm headphone jack. I called it volume before, but of course power button and volume right there on the right-hand side of the device. In the past, I've had some instances with OtterBox cases like this where a lot of different users felt that the buttons were hard to press. I can assure you that's not a problem on this phone. Really works just as it should, and you're not going to have any issues with that at all. In terms of overall protection, it's great. I mean, I know what to expect here. That's one of the reasons to go with OtterBox. You have access for charging right there. One thing with the OtterBox cases to be aware of, though, is that if you're not careful when you open up these rubber hoods for all of the ports, you can tear them. I've seen it happen, so just be careful when you're opening it. They're not that incredibly easy to grab. You definitely need to have a nail. You can see right there, as I try to get it in focus, you can see that is the lip. So if you've got a nail, you're good to go. But if you have none, it's definitely going to be a little bit more of a challenge. In terms of overall design, what it covers, fairly straightforward. Off-center there on the front lip. I'm not sure, it must be a matter of design and making sure not to cover any sensors is what I would have to assume there, as well as the earpiece itself. But very minimalist design, and really does not bulk up the phone too much. And again, affords you the best protection you're going to get. Of course, cutouts for microphone, your camera with flash, your speaker for speakerphone and any sort of media that you're going to watch on the device. Cut out again for another microphone. So really everything is accommodated. That's standard fare with OtterBox, nothing new here. Again, I'm not really sure how I feel about AT&T doing this. Good for the environment, but a little bit creepy as a customer that expects to at least get a new case. I'm not saying that this one was a return, but I really would have no way of knowing. And as I mentioned before, not cool that they pulled out the screen protector. For scale, I've got my Note 2 right here. Some burgers and beer coming up there on a Groupon. And you can see size-wise still, even with the bulk of the case, nowhere near approaching the phablet that is the Galaxy Note 2, or of course the more refined and freshly released Note 3, which just improves upon the beast that the Note 2 is. But the Moto X, a completely different handset in so many ways. You're really looking at a device that, in my opinion, is the best of Google in every way. Just leveraging Motorola to create one of the best phones ever made. It doesn't have the best specifications, but when it comes to the experience and everything that you expect to have in a handset, I'm hard-pressed right now to find any criticisms. And with a case like this, even though it does add more bulk than I think a lot of people will want, and it also is counterintuitive to having the color scheme. You know, in my instance here with the developers edition, I didn't have a choice on the colors, but if you used Moto Maker and customized a phone, you probably aren't going to want to put a giant block of plastic on it. But if you are prone to dropping it, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, then clearly that's why you're here looking at this video about the OtterBox. So the Commuter, the lighter of the two, also less expensive. The Defender is a $50 case. It does afford more protection as well as a clip, but in my opinion, a little bit overkill unless you really know that, frankly, you work at a construction site. Not that you need to work at one, but you get my drift. It really beefs up the phone above and beyond what is really a beautifully designed phone that already this Commuter version unfortunately does take away from, but it does so still with some style. It does come in a couple different colors, and you can find it discounted. The link in the description, again, should be less than the $35 that at least I paid from AT&T. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.